Welcome back to the Daily Deer. It's day 21, planning public land hunts. The farther one gets into the wilderness, the greater the attraction of its lonely freedom. Theodore Roosevelt. That's really, all these quotes are just so great to reflect on. And that's kind of what this is. It's almost like I'm just kind of reflecting to the camera here, to anyone listening to this Daily Deer. But today, when I think about planning public land hunts, my journey as a deer hunter has changed drastically. But to kind of fall back on the quote of the farther you get into the wilderness, the greater the attraction. I think that's why I got so attracted to deer hunting in my early days of hunting, is my dad took me to the Shawanigan Nicolet National Forest. It's early. Coffee isn't in yet. And that's a pretty vast territory, tract of land here in Wisconsin. And just for some general perspective, there's over 640 million acres of public land in the United States. National forests, BLM, wildlife refuges, state managed lands, so forth. And speaking of state managed lands, I'm in Wisconsin, so there's approximately 6 million acres of public land available to hunt in Wisconsin alone. That's MFL land, FCL land, crop damage. That's VPA land, voluntary public access, just county forests, so forth. There's a lot of land. And the Nicolet is a really vast tract of national northern forests. There's predation, there's wolves, there's bears. It's pretty expansive. And I remember going hunting up there with my dad before I had any, I could read a compass, barely. That was about it. There weren't smartphones. It was maps and logging roads and hopefully good four-wheel drive and lots of snow. You could get lost up there really easily. You could turn around really easily. And if you did, you better have your basics to get through a night, because it happens to people. That sense of adventure, that it could go south, that it could get dicey or western, is kind of the embodiment of the spirit of adventure. And that's always what I've loved most about deer hunting, is less the hunting part, it's the adventure. Now, when I was young, it felt really badass to be going into such a vast terrain with a rifle or a shotgun, or a bow. Like, that was really exhilarating. I was out there to get some food. Like, it felt like I was going back in time. And I remember going to a motel in Phelps, Wisconsin, and we get in this hotel, and on the inside of the door it says, "Welcome to Phelps. You can now turn your clocks back 20 years because nothing has changed." And it felt like it. But I wasn't doing much of any planning back then. I was just doing whatever my dad said to do. Follow these footprints, pick that tree, sit and wait, ambush, ambush, ambush. And I didn't have any real understanding of how deer move through any terrain. I still wouldn't today if I went back to the Northwoods. Like, it's a really hard area to hunt. But when I do public land hunting around my locale area here in southeast Wisconsin, there's a lot of planning that goes into it, and you have to get really deliberate about pinpointing very specific spots. And you're juggling two different things. You're juggling, where you think and hope the deer will be based on assumptions of bedding, thick cover, and food source, and maybe water, depending on time of year, and also water based on how it might separate you from other hunters, and how it could also protect the deer. And then you're balancing that all against where hunting pressure is, or where you expect it to be. And in a populated area, smack dab in between two densely populated cities, Milwaukee and Madison, there's a lot of pressure. It's hard to find spots. Even larger tracts of land here have a significant amount of pressure. So planning is important. And looking at things like pinch points, or, oxbows, or things of that nature really help out. So obviously a map's going to get you somewhere along the way. We talk about Spartan Forge a lot on the OKS Hunter podcast and on the Daily Deer here. Apparently, they have a feature where it's called LiDAR, where you can remove all leafy green terrain and just look at like a naked terrain map with contour lines. it's kind of like looking at a 3D map of sorts, and you can see things that you wouldn't see on a map otherwise. That can be helpful. The best thing you can always do is get boots on the ground. That's always the best thing you can do. So in terms of planning and preparing, plan for adventure and prepare for fun. It's just a good time getting out there. You're going to run into other hunters. You'll probably make a couple friends. It doesn't have to be a negative thing when you run into other hunters, but plan the hunt as best you can, and then prepare by, getting boots on the ground. Obviously I've been hunting for some time, so I've hunted a number of properties a number of times, and every time I go there, I'm trying to explore a little bit more, or look at it through a new lens, or take some of the learnings I've had from last season or a couple seasons before, or a podcast, and try something a little bit different. You're not going to learn anything new if you're not willing to fail. So be sure to try different things, plan as much as you can, prepare by being out there, scouting, putting out cams if you want to, just getting familiar with the property, maybe even talking to locals if someone lives in the area. I've had scouts, he texted me if some trucks is here. If there's a truck there today, I probably won't go. But if there's not, I'll text a neighbor in the area and ask if there's any vehicles in the area. Or you drive by on your off days and you look, is anyone in that trailhead spot? Is anyone parked there? Can I determine if there's pressure? There's so many different things, but the public land rewards the adventurous and the prepared. And, just get out there and have fun, have the right mindset. And remember, the attraction of the wilderness is the deeper you get, the lonelier. I messed up the quote. The farther you get in the wilderness, the greater the attraction of its lonely freedom. And even on small tracks in public, you can still get into the wilderness. You don't have to be in vast terrains to get a flavor of wilderness. There's still a lot that goes on. Mice scurry about. You got the chickadees that come and chirp on your branch. It's not, dangerous wilderness territory, but it is wilderness nonetheless. And I love all of it. So have a great day. Thanks for venturing into the deer woods with me this morning.